Welcome back to the channel. So earlier this morning, CNBC released the footage or the video of the interview with Hans Vestberg. Some of you may have seen it. Some of you may have not seen it. I will leave the link to this article in the description down below. The video is on this page. You guys could check it out. The way I want to say this, I am an advocate for consumers. I'm an advocate for competition. And you guys have heard me time and time again really go after Verizon because of their go-to market strategy, because of how they're positioning themselves and what they are doing. And like I said, it's not coming from me. I don't run the company. They're positioning themselves as a premium carrier. They're making the moves that they're making. That is not coming from me. So what I saw this morning and the defensive tone that Hans took, he rebutted any competitive question that he was asked with financials. So I want to get this out the way, and I want to incorporate, because a lot of people continuously ask me, well, if you feel this way, how would you run Verizon if you became the CEO today? And I wanted to talk about that in this video. I want to make this video as short as possible. Probably will be a longer one, but I want to talk about that, right? So putting myself in the shoes of a CEO, and again, this is all just, my opinion on how I would do it in theory, a lot of theoretical. So don't take any of this serious and put in the comments, oh no, that's not going to work. What about the financials, right? I'm just speaking in theory from a competitive, taking a step back or two, looking at it objectively, and coming in with a competitive mindset. We are a capitalism country. You have to compete for business. You have to look at the economy, which I know Verizon is doing. You have to look at the landscape. You have to look at the numbers. You have to look at the projections. And then you have to go attack. And Verizon is under current leadership, is taking a completely different approach. And it is not working. No way, no how. And it's not going to work in this quarter. They already told us it's negative. It's not going to work in the fourth quarter. And it's not going to work. There's no momentum going into 2023. And of course, there's going to be different guidance. We don't know how that'll pan out. But I can tell you right now, Verizon is set to take 4 quarters of losses in 2022. So here's how I would run Verizon. So if I came on board, I would of course have to look at financials and trust me, I've ran a store before. I know about P&L reports. I know about all that. So I would have to get with the team. I would have to, like I said, look at all the paperwork, look at the financials, and then I would have to immediately, I would already have a plan on how I would maneuver before I even get into the full-time position. I would have to immediately meet with the board of directors, and I would have to make them aware and have to make investors aware that I'm going to get ready to drop the price across the board in line with T-Mobile. I have to do it. These companies do 3-year plans. Hans knows what the projections are. They already know what they're projecting to do in 2023. They're not saying it now. He knows what the projections are. I can see the projections. I don't have to be a part of the company. I know what's happening. I see the market share numbers on a nationwide scale between all the carriers. I seen that TracFone took another hit, 1.5% churn. Or not churn, but a reduction in nationwide share. I can see it. I don't have to see their numbers to see what's about to happen. So that's the first thing I would have to do. I would have to meet with the board of directors and I would look them straight in the eyes and I would tell them the previous CEO did not put this company in a position to succeed, to grow. He did not put the company in a position to do right by the investors. And we have to fix this and we got to act now. We cannot fall further into that hole where it's going to be harder to get ourselves out. We have to act and we got to do it right now. And I would have to send shockwaves into the industry. I would have to make T-Mobile get into their meeting and have to discuss this. That's the type of move that I would have to make. And I know the only move right off the bat that I can make that would send those types of shockwaves into the industry is to drop all my pricing across the board in line with T-Mobile. Have to do it. That's the first move that I would have to make that would send shockwaves. Yes, I know investors would probably panic. They would say, oh, well, wait a minute, that's going to mean less profits. But here's the rebuttal that I have to that. In theory, right, if they're going to post a loss in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, right, and we don't know about the fourth quarter. We know the third quarter is going to happen with a loss. We don't know the fourth quarter. If your base is not growing, right, so that means you're not taking share from AT&T and T-Mobile. Your customers are dropping down to MVNOs, so you're making less profit anyway. So let's drop the price and let's get going. Let's compete. So that's the first move I would make. Get in touch with the board of directors, inform them of this price drop, and then I would change the go-to market strategy immediately. I would have to get rid of the Apple deal, that plan, it has to immediately be terminated. I would have to contact Apple, tell them thanks, but we don't need it. You know, that was part of the old leadership. Get this plan out. We don't need this plan. It does nothing for us. We will still sell your phones. We will still be aggressive, but we don't need it. So I would get rid of that plan. And then I would keep the Get More, and I would invest into that plan with a little different go-to-market strategy. And I would highlight more consistently what that plan offers. Let's start there. Why are we including another plan with different perks and features when we have a plan that's action-packed? Disney, ESPN, Hulu, Apple Music, Apple Arcade. Let's start there. Let's get going with that. Before the Apple plan was introduced, we had no growth in this first and the second quarter. Let's go to market with that plan, right? Let's get this marketing behind that plan a little bit more fun, more vibrant, and let's get that out there. Let's be disruptive on that plan with pricing in line with T-Mobile, and we're going to point that out. And we're going to run a second ad pointing out that we still have the bigger and better network. We're going to find a unique way to go to market where I don't care if I have to send engineers into Nebraska and I have to do a side-by-side for about 30 seconds where I'm doing speed testing, streaming video, and you don't get anything on T-Mobile. Or you can show them that T-Mobile is buffering on roaming coverage. I will find a unique way to get that point across to the consumer base, to get them back on board that now we're in line with the same pricing that you pay and we still have the better network. That's the first thing that I would have to do. I would have to be competitive. What he's doing now is not going to work, and they can see that in the projections. So like I said, I would have to immediately terminate the Apple deal, drop prices in line with T-Mobile. I don't think I would need to include taxes and fees because I do still have the better network. I think just dropping the price down to T-Mobile levels, and I'm talking everything, right? The Get More, drop that to the Magenta Max. The Play More or Do More, drop that to the Magenta levels, and then get the starter plan down to the lowest T-Mobile entry plan. Match them, become competitive, make them lower their prices even more, make them have to respond. Stop being reactionary. Set a trend. Push the market in a competitive direction. Because right now, what Verizon is doing, they're completely backing off from the competitiveness, and they're just kind of sitting back and letting the market do what it does. And AT&T and T-Mobile are completely killing them. And this is before, keep in mind, this is before T-Mobile gains real serious scale. They are still in the middle of scaling that network. And next year in 24, they're going to really get to a serious competitive scale. Right now, they're getting to what I would consider a metro competitiveness, where Verizon does not have C-band, which they still lack that scale, right? Where they don't have C-band, T-Mobile has the faster network across the board. So that's something that they have to keep an eye on, because T-Mobile is taking share in those parts at a vicious pace. So that's what I would have to immediately do. And I think that would immediately change the entire trajectory for the company. I think that would bring foot traffic back into stores. I think that would get people thinking, right? Pricing perception. That should change. Not just the welcome plan. The welcome plan is not doing it. The welcome plan excludes all the promos. You go in, you get nothing. So that's a turnoff. Yeah, it might bring people in store, but when they hear that they don't get anything, and then everything they do want, they have to go to the highest plan. So they're like, I'm out. I'm going to T-Mobile, or I'm going to AT&T where I can get promo on any plans. So this is a very intense competitive environment, more so than Hans is willing to admit. He said it today, it's competitive, but it's more competitive than he's willing to say, and the numbers show it. He's taken losses. AT&T increased the prices on legacy customers, same as him. And they posted wins. They posted growth in the first quarter, second quarter, and they will post growth in the third quarter. Verizon posted a loss in the first and the second quarter. Well, not entirely. They did have a little bit of growth in the second quarter, but you get my point. They had very anemic growth. And they're citing that in the third quarter, because of the price increase, they're taking a loss. AT&T didn't take a loss. They raised prices. So I think that team is out of touch. And I fully expect that a new team that moves in, new leadership, would probably move in a similar direction to what I'm telling you guys in this video. They just have to. It's you can see it. It's very transparent as to what needs to happen. They have to drop prices in line with what the market feels is competitive, where the growth is heading. And I would, if I was in charge of Verizon, I would put one promo out there, not 2, 3, 4 different ones. I wouldn't do, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I would put one competitive promo, and I would leave it in the market for the quarter. I would get with the team. I would see, okay, what do we think is competitive? Maybe we can do something that's even more competitive for a little bit than our competitors, and maybe that could bring us in even more growth. And then with the perks and the network and everything that we offer now, fixed wireless access, we keep the churn low. We keep those customers long term. Hello. Now we got some, now we're talking. But again, that's just me. Those are just my thoughts. That's what I would do. Like I said, this is just theory. This is just opinion based. This is not anything realistic. This is not actually going to happen, of course, with me taking over. I'm just saying from a standpoint of what I would do if I took over Verizon. And those three things, right? Immediately lower prices, immediately discontinue the Apple plan, and put one single promo into the market and leave it for the whole quarter. You have to get competitive. And don't get me started on all these Verizon brands. Total Wireless, Visible, no. That would have to go too. I would bring them immediately and aggressively under one brand. The prepaid ones, I would get them all onto TracFone. I would get rid of Visible. I would get rid of Total Wireless. I would get rid of whatever else is out there. I would bring it all under TracFone. Get rid of it. Done. I would have two brands, and I would be a much better and bigger focused company. I wouldn't have to split my marketing dollars with every brand, and I would have to aggressively do that. Verizon is out of touch. They're out of focus. They're putting money here. They're putting money there. It's confusing the consumer. Okay, is Total Wireless Verizon? Is it Visible? You know, what's MVNO? What's an MVNO? Is that Verizon? Because I keep hearing that they're on the Verizon network. It's confusing. I would have to get rid of the brands, get rid of them, get those customers under TracFone. You bought TracFone for I think it was like 19 million customers or whatever, and they paid a certain amount of $1 billion for it. I would have to get all of those brands under TracFone, even Visible. I got to get rid of that. The Yahoo Mobile, whatever else is out there. I don't know if they ever got rid of that. It has to go into TracFone. And then I'm attacking the market, more competitive Verizon postpaid and TracFone. That is it. I'm not doing 17 different brands. I'm not doing it. Not going to happen under my leadership. Not happening. I see it now where I'm working at now. One person has too much stuff going on at once. They're out of focus. Then stuff goes missing. Stuff doesn't get done. Stuff gets forgotten about. And I know each of these teams have their own leadership, but as a whole, you're just not focused, and the market just gets confused. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. That's just my take on it. I think that's a very strong take. Other than that, I don't see a positive path forward for Verizon. I'm hearing in the Pacific regions, the fixed wireless access growth is slowing down because wireless is not growing. Churn is higher than even T-Mobile. I mean, there's just so much negativeness around Verizon right now, and they're not changing. They're not making any market corrections. So stay tuned to the channel, like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.